I have been married to my husband for 3 years. We have a 1-year-old daughter together. Up until recently, I thought I could count on him when I truly needed him. But last week, he proved me completely wrong. I had been feeling off for a couple of days, fatigued, nauseous, just generally unwell. Then one morning, I woke up with a fever, chills, and a deep sense that something was really wrong. I was so weak I could barely get out of bed. Taking care of our daughter felt impossible. I called my husband at work and told him I needed him to come home. He promised he would. An hour passed, then 2. He kept texting me saying he was just finishing up something and would leave soon. Then he claimed he was stuck in traffic. Then he said he was on his way but had to stop for gas. At this point, my fever was getting worse and I was struggling to even sit up without feeling dizzy. I told him it was urgent. He reassured me he was almost there. But something felt off, so I texted one of his coworkers, someone I knew he was close with. The response I got sent a chill down my spine. He hasn't left yet. He's still here. I was furious and terrified. I immediately called my neighbor, a kind older. She came over right away, helped me get dressed, and drove me to the hospital. Turns out I had a severe asymptomatic urinary tract infection that had turned into a serious kidney infection. My heart rate was dangerously high, and the doctors told me that if I had waited much longer, I could have gone into septic shock. 2 hours later, while I was lying in that hospital bed, shaking from fever and hooked up to an IV, my husband finally decided to show up. I didn't even want to look at him. He tried to explain, saying he didn't realize it was that bad and that he was just trying to wrap things up at work. But I can't get over the fact that he lied to me over and over while I was at home struggling to stay conscious. If my neighbor hadn't been there, I don't know what would have happened to me. I feel so betrayed. If he could ignore me in a life-threatening situation, what does that say about our marriage? About our future? About our daughter's safety if something ever happens again? I don't know what to do. Would you be able to trust your partner after something like this? Relevant comments. Original poster replied about her using the language for the post. I use translation as I said, I am a French Canadian and I don't speak English well. Commenter 1. I'm not sure this even matters, but was he panicked? Did he come in realizing exactly how badly he screwed up? Was he terrified that something bad could have happened to you because he lied to you? Or was it just, oh, sorry, I didn't realize? It was the second, we'd be done. If it was the first, I don't know. Definitely going to take a lot of work on his part to show that he is an honest, dependable partner who loves and cares for and will prioritize you and your daughter. And definitely counseling. Original poster replied, he acts like nothing happened. No guilt, no remorse. He just keeps making excuses and minimizing everything. He even told me I should have just gone to the hospital earlier with my neighbor instead of waiting around for him. But the only reason I waited was because he kept telling me he was on his way. I also didn't want to leave my baby with my elderly neighbor unless it was absolutely necessary. Commenter 2. He has shown you he is, the decision is yours now. Is this a pattern or a one-off? Original poster replied, you could say it's a pattern, although the previous times were for much less important things. He has often put his work, his family, etc. before us. Commenter 3. Where was your daughter whilst all this was going on? Who was looking after her while you were bedridden? Original poster replied, my elderly neighbor, but I didn't want to involve her unless it was absolutely necessary because of her age. Commenter 4. Why are you still married to him again? I hope you have a backup plan. What advice would you give your daughter if she was going through something similar? Once you get better, I hope you start looking into getting a divorce. He has shown you that you are not a priority to him. Believe it. You and your daughter deserve better. Original poster replied, it happened last week. I haven't really had the health or the opportunity to initiate a divorce, but it's definitely something I'm thinking about, especially since he doesn't seem to have any remorse. Original poster said about her health issues. I have good health, aside from needing iron during my pregnancy due to anemia, which made me weak for a while. A period during which he didn't help me much more, honestly. Other than that, I haven't had any other health issues or been particularly sick, and I rarely ask him for help. Update, hi, 3 days later. I'm feeling better, and finally back home after a few days in the hospital. My parents came to pick up my daughter and took care of her while I was away. They live 4 hours away, so I hadn't asked for their help earlier. I didn't really get an apology from him. Just a bunch of excuses. He said he didn't think it was that serious, and I should have just gone to the neighbor if it was really that bad. I didn't argue, not because I agree, but because some of the comments I got made me realize some things. People asked if I'm the type to cry wolf, and that's why he didn't come. In 5 years of being together, I've only ever needed him to take me to the hospital once, when I gave birth to our daughter. He wasn't there when I was sick, and if he had come home, he probably wouldn't have done much anyway if it didn't need a hospital. But then someone asked me what I'd do if it was our daughter in my position, and he acted the same way. That hit me hard, and as dramatic as it sounds, I don't want to be with him anymore. I don't think I can ever trust him again. I've made an appointment with a lawyer, but of course, divorce takes time. I'm looking for an apartment, but the housing shortage is a nightmare. Since I live in a rural area, though, there's still hope. I haven't told him yet. He's acting like nothing's wrong, so I'm doing the same. I even saw comments suggesting that he might not have actually been at work, maybe using it as an excuse for something else. So, one night while he was sleeping, I checked his phone. I didn't find proof he wasn't at work, but I did find messages to women, multiple flirty ones, and a Tinder app. These messages have been going on for months. He was also sending TikToks to his friends while I was sick, laughing and joking around with no real concern for me. He told me his boss refused to give him time off. I found no evidence that he even asked for time off or discussed my condition with anyone. I'm starting to suspect he lied because if he really did ask, it would have been illegal for his boss to deny him leave where I live. At this point, I don't feel like confronting him. I just want out. I ignored the red flags before, the small lies, broken promises, and I shouldn't have. I thought he'd be there for me when it mattered most, but I guess I was naive. I never thought anyone could let me down like this. I'm not telling him I'm leaving until I'm ready, just like he didn't tell me he wasn't coming. Top comments commenter. 1. Take screenshots of the app and flirty texts. This is evidence your divorce lawyer can use later. Original poster replied, where I am infidelity doesn't change anything regarding divorce, but I still did it for if he tried to lie to people. Original poster clarifies up on finding proof from her husband's phone. He was at work. I said I didn't find proof he wasn't like people here saying, implying we were cheating. He wasn't. Also, I'm from a small town in a rural area. So yeah, I know his colleague. I also know everybody that's the way it is here. Thank you, though. Someone said, could your husband had lost his job if he came straight home after you asked him for help? Original poster replied, he wouldn't have lost his job. We are very protected here. You can't fire someone without justifications, and it's a small community, so I know his employers, colleagues, etc. They are not like that. He simply didn't care. During that time, he was just sending TikToks, Snapchats, etc. to his friends. Commenter 2. I'm not really surprised you found what you found. I'm so glad you're okay, and I applaud you for realizing you and your daughter deserve better. You're absolutely correct to not mention anything until the plan is fully in place as you walk out the door. Good luck. Everything will be better. Commenter 3. I'm happy you're okay and wish nothing but the best for you. It sucks, but I'm glad you see your snake of a husband for what he is. It will get better. Just remember, one day at a time.
I, a 43-year-old male, am really close to my family, consisting of my siblings, their spouses, their kids, and my parents. Every year we go on a vacation this time of year for 2 weeks and come back right before Christmas. We are supposed to leave a week from today. I am the divorced, single, sole parent to my daughter, 15 years old. She jokingly calls herself a nerd. She's weird, she's quirky, she likes anime and video games and Star Wars, the whole stereotypical nerd thing. She does get bullied at school, but since leaving middle school and growing up a little more, she started taking it better, and mostly it stopped. This one boy, who I will call Jack, 16, presumably and coincidentally my nephew's, who is also sort of in a hole, best friend, is an absolute nightmare. I've talked to the school, we've had meetings with his parents, she's switched around classes extensively, but he still goes out of his way to pick on Emily. She has told me herself that she can deal with name-calling, but it doesn't stop there. He pulls her hair, rips her clothes, destroys her things, like this kid is a full-fledged nightmare. They even got into a fist fight that they were both suspended for last year because he stole her backpack and put it into a full toilet in the boys' bathroom. When I was discussing plans with my sister, she brought up needing to buy Jack a winter coat. When I realized he was going on the trip, I actually almost lost it. I told her admittedly, without thinking, that we weren't going, and she began begging me, talking about tradition and family and blah blah. I said no, I'll eat my portion of the cost, but we are not going. After a longer conversation, I said I'll go if they disinvite Jack. We are well off, and we are lucky to have grown up in a financially stable home with parents who are attentive and supportive, and for our kids to have done the same. Jack was not that lucky. He lives in a really unstable environment, both financially and emotionally. This was apparent to me from the meetings with his parents, as his father did not care, and his mother blamed my daughter for being evil. And these were multiple, separate meetings. This is awful. And I'm sorry that Jack or any child has to go through that, but I told my sister that my position still stands. The conversation went back and forth, mostly just her throwing excuses. Jack has divorced parents, he grew up differently than us, maybe it's just a crush, so on and so forth. When I reminded her of the fight, she said, I know, but Jack needs this. She mentioned how he needed a break from his toxic home life, and I respect that, but why does that mean I have to put my daughter in a house with her tormentor for 2 weeks? I told her I wasn't changing my mind and went home. Now there is pure chaos. My family is split. My parents are begging me to go. I'm getting texts near constantly. My daughter told me she's not going if Jack is going. She had a full-blown panic attack over it. Maybe I'm looking for validation, or maybe I really need a wake-up call and I'm just a selfish asshole. Update. Hi everyone, I hope you're good. I have an update, resolution that I figured I'd share, though truth be told it's a bit anticlimactic. Before I start, I wanted to say thank you to anyone who put in their 2 cents. I appreciate all of the comments, though I got overwhelmed with attention very quickly. I'm sorry if any questions remained unanswered. There were a lot of comments. I am still trying to maintain some anonymity, but I am happy to answer any questions that don't impede on that. Night before last, my 3 siblings, their spouses, and my parents all gathered at my sister's house to talk this through. I, very immaturely, sort of walked in with a mild attitude. I knew I wasn't going to change my mind. I felt like this was a waste of time, but my daughter keeps expressing to me how badly she wants to go on the trip, so I went. It started off with my sister and my mom crying and just asking me to go, but that got shut down really fast by pretty much everyone else. My sister expressed that she just felt so bad for Jack. Again, he's lower class with a mother who treats him like a baby and a father that doesn't care. She mentioned that Jack and Emily have been polite to each other in the presence of family and figured they were getting over their issues. I did find out that the waiver he was on extended to his tuition, despite being told that it was for his uniforms and school supplies, so my apologies for an incorrect comment I made. Regardless, she was trying to convince me and my entire family to allow Jack to come. I really do get it, and I am a person who can experience empathy, sometimes to a fault, but for the millionth time, my empathy towards Jack and his situation does not overpower my need to protect my daughter. As her only parent, it is literally my duty to make sure she is safe, and this is not safe. Thanks to a comment, I did say, my daughter does not feel safe around Jack, to which my brother-in-law, the sister in question's husband, replied, well, that settles it. The only adult who wanted Jack to go was my sister. The only people who wanted me to compromise and go and ignore Jack were my mother and sister-in-law. Everyone else was adamant that Jack did not go. No one knew he was invited, and it wasn't until I sent in the group chat that I would not be attending because of Jack's presence that anyone, including my sister's husband, knew Jack was going. My father, who is actually a therapist, has been ridiculously supportive through this whole thing. He explained his reasons for not wanting Jack there, besides the obvious. Most notably, And as many others, including myself, have pointed out, he started bringing up the subject of doing dirty things. My nephew mentioned to him that Jack does like Emily, and if his mindset is as dysfunctional as we are led to believe, he's not currently capable of expressing that to Emily in a healthy way, which could lead to him attempting to do dirty on her. Note, my sister tried to "I told you so" me about the crush, but I literally laughed at her. I really honestly don't care if he has a crush on my daughter. He's so awful to her. She takes it like a champ, she holds her head up high, and I'm so proud of her for that. But that doesn't change the fact that Jack has been so sincerely awful to her that it makes me sick. It was ultimately decided that Jack was not going. Thanks to another comment I saw, I did tell her that she was doing a great thing by trying to help this boy, but her niece came before him in this situation. I brought up that Jack might retaliate against Emily. Again, thanks to another comment for being disinvited. So we did come up with a plan, sort of. My nephew had to tell him at school the next day that Jack was no longer invited because he didn't want him and Emily to get into a fight. I thought that was a dumb plan, I'm not going to lie, but as long as the blame was off of Emily, I didn't care. We left for the night. Both Emily and I hugged my sister. She apologized. It was generally okay. I'm still frustrated with her for trying to be this boy's savior at the risk of my daughter, and we have yet to have that conversation, but I'm sure it will come with time. My mother told Emily that she was sorry for seemingly wanting to subject her to Jack, and she didn't mean to come off that way. She simply wanted us to come. I am still frustrated with my mom, but again, a conversation to come with time. I told my daughter not to get her hopes up, because part of me still didn't believe that Jack was really not going to go, but we proceeded with cautious optimism. In the meantime, I spoke with my lawyer friend who did advise me not to go on the trip if Jack was going, and not to speak to him or his parents directly. No problem there. I had resigned to not going, and I had no interest in talking to anyone. Additionally, my sister's husband and I had a long talk about how he was really disappointed in her for this. That's not my business, but I was happy that he was still as fiercely protective of my daughter as I always thought he was. I have to give my nephew props, because he took the news well, although he was disappointed. He understands that what Jack does is wrong, but I'm still not really sure why he puts up with it, besides that he's a teenager who doesn't want to lose his friend. So, this leads us to last night. Emily shows me a message from my nephew that just says, "So Jack backed out in Mayel," and that's it. Get this, Jack didn't know that Emily was going. My nephew went to tell him what was up, and he got as far as saying Emily is going to be there before Jack backed out. I spoke to my nephew who said Jack just got weird and said he couldn't go, and they left it at that. Jack seemed disappointed, and I do feel sorry for him, but again, my daughter comes first to me. My brother-in-law only sent me laughing emojis. Initially, I was still not sure if I'd go because a lot of comments suggested I should not go on principle. With that being said, my daughter said she'd rather go on this trip, even after I tried to suggest we do something else. So, now we're going. Yay. That's really it. Sorry it's so long, and I wish it was more exciting, but it is not. I tried to put emphasis on the conversation with my family because that was the important part. But even then, we were just standing around my sister's kitchen talking. No big confrontation or anything. Regardless, have a good day and a happy holiday season. Thank you for reading and for all the advice. I do appreciate it.